On the far edge of the galaxy, where stars twinkled like distant fires, lay the mining colony of Varkon 9. It was a rough place, built into the rocky surface of a cold, barren planet. The colony's purpose was simple: to gather rare minerals that could power starships and advanced technology. Life here was hard, but the workers were tougher. Zeal was one of those workers. He was an engineer from the planet Othran, a species known for their calm minds and strong bodies. His skin was smooth and pale with faint blue lines that glowed softly when he was focused. Zeal had never seen a human before, but now he was assigned to work with one, a technician named Jake. Jake was different from anyone Zeal had ever met. His skin was warm and tanned, and his eyes sparkled with energy. Jake moved with quick, confident steps, always smiling or laughing, even when the job was difficult. Zeal found this strange but interesting. Humans were unpredictable, but that made them strong in ways Zeal didn't fully understand. Their first day working together was busy. The mining machines broke down often, and the colony's energy systems were old and fragile. Jake showed Zeal how to fix a power conduit that had shorted out. When Jake reached to grab a glowing plasma wire, it suddenly snapped free and sparked wildly. Without thinking, Jake pushed Zeal out of the way just in time. The plasma arc hit the wall behind them, sending a hot, bright flash through the room. Zeal's heart raced. He expected to feel pain, but instead, something else happened. A strange heat began to rise inside his body, starting in his chest and spreading outwards like a slow-burning fire. Zeal looked down at his hands. The blue lines on his skin flickered brightly, almost like they were alive. He blinked, confused and a little afraid. "Jake," he said, voice shaking. What just happened to me?" Jake frowned, stepping closer. "I don't know, but you're not hurt, right?" Zeal shook his head, still feeling the strange heat. It wasn't painful yet, but it was unlike anything he had ever experienced. It was as if his body was waking up, reacting to something new. The two spent the rest of the day fixing the damaged equipment, but Zeal couldn't stop thinking about the burning feeling inside him. That night, in the small living quarters they shared, Zeal sat alone. He placed his hand on his chest and tried to calm himself, but the heat grew stronger. Suddenly his skin glowed brighter, and he felt a sharp pulse run through his veins. The sensation was strange but not unpleasant. It was like an energy was flowing through him, something powerful and alive. The next morning, Zeal told Jake what was happening. Jake listened carefully, his face serious for the first time. "We need to get this checked out," he said. "Maybe the colony doctor can help." They went to the medical bay where Dr. Mara, a kind woman with sharp eyes and a calm voice, examined Zeal. She tested his vital signs and scanned his body with her instruments. "This is unusual," she said quietly. "Your body is producing energy in ways I don't understand." Zeal frowned. "Is it dangerous?" Mira shook her head slowly. "I don't know yet. We'll need to monitor you closely." Days passed, but the heat inside Zeal only grew. It came and went like waves, sometimes gentle, sometimes strong enough to make him stop what he was doing. His glowing lines pulsed brighter too, especially when Jake was near. One afternoon, while working on a damaged energy core, Zeal suddenly dropped his tools. The burning inside him flared up like wildfire and he felt dizzy. Jake caught him just in time. "Zeal, are you okay?" Zeal gasped, trying to steady his breath. I don't know. This is not normal for my kind." Jake looked at him with a new respect. "Maybe it's something about humans. Maybe your body is reacting to me." Zeal studied Jake's face, feeling a strange connection he couldn't explain. The human's warmth seemed to calm the burning inside him. Could it be that humans carried something special? Something that could affect other species in ways science didn't yet understand? That night, Zeal sat by the small window in their quarters, staring at the stars. The vastness of space felt less cold now, filled with questions and possibilities. He didn't know what was happening to his body, but he felt one thing clearly. His life was about to change forever. The days on Varkon 9 passed slowly, but for Zeal, Time seemed to stretch and tighten around the strange fire burning inside him. Every morning he woke with a faint warmth in his chest, growing stronger as the day went on. It was not like any sickness or injury he had ever known. It was alive, a slow, rising heat that pulsed with his heartbeat. Jake noticed the change, too. The cheerful human who joked with everyone now looked worried every time Zeal winced or paused, as if the heat was a silent enemy. "You need to tell Dr. Mara everything," Jake said one evening as they worked late fixing a power regulator. Zeal nodded, but he was scared. What if the doctors could not help? What if this burning inside him was a sign that something was wrong with his very being? The medical bay was quiet and bright, filled with screens and blinking lights. Dr. Mira examined Zeal again, running scans and tests. She looked at the data, brow furrowed. "There is a strange energy source in your cells," she explained. "It's like your body is creating power from something unknown." Zeal's eyes widened. "Is it dangerous?" "We don't know yet," Mira replied honestly. "But it could be a reaction to the plasma incident or something else. I want to keep you here for observation." Zeal shook his head. "I want to keep working. I must understand this." Jake stood by Zeal's side. "We'll find the answer together. You don't have to do this alone." Back at the mining site, Zeal tried to focus on his work. But the heat inside him was growing stronger. His glowing lines flickered and danced like flames beneath his skin. Sometimes the warmth felt comforting, like a fire that gave life. Other times it burned so fiercely that Zeal felt weak. One afternoon, while repairing an energy conduit deep inside the mine, Zeal's body suddenly surged with heat. The walls around him shimmered with light, and his hands trembled. He gasped and grabbed the pipe to steady himself. Jake rushed over. "Zeal, what's happening?" Zeal closed his eyes. "I don't know, it's like my body is trying to change." Jake frowned. "Maybe it's your alien biology reacting to something new. Maybe humans have something inside them that triggers this." Zeal opened his eyes, looking at Jake with a mix of hope and fear. "Do you think your presence is causing this?" Jake nodded slowly. "Maybe. Humans are different from other species. We carry energy, emotions, and maybe more." That night, Zeal lay awake, staring at the ceiling. He tried to understand the fire burning inside him. It felt like a part of him waking up, a power he never knew existed. But what did it mean? Was it a gift or a curse? He remembered the stories he had heard on Othran, tales of ancient beings who could harness energy from the stars. Could this be the start of something like that? Or was it a dangerous change that would destroy him? The next day, Zeal asked Jake to help him with an experiment. "I want to test if your energy is causing this," he said. Jake smiled. "Let's do it." They used the colony's lab equipment to measure the energy fields around them. As Jake sat close, Zeal felt the heat inside him rise again. The scanner showed unusual spikes in energy between them. "It's true," Jake said, amazed. "Your body reacts to me. Maybe human energy is special." Zeal felt a mix of relief and worry. "But why? What does it mean?" Before they could answer, the lab alarm blared loudly. Red lights flashed. Dr. Mara appeared, her face grave. "We have a problem," she said. "The Syndicate ships are approaching Varkon 9. The Zanari Syndicate was a powerful group known for taking anything valuable by force. They had heard rumors about strange energy on the colony and wanted it for themselves." Zeal and Jake exchanged a tense glance. The burning inside Zeal flared suddenly, as if warning them of the coming danger. "We need to prepare," Jake said, standing tall. "Whatever this energy is, it might be the key to defending the colony." Zeal nodded, feeling the strange fire in his body rise with new strength. His burning mystery was no longer just a puzzle. It was a force that could change everything. As the Syndicate ships moved closer, the stars outside the window seemed to burn brighter. The fate of Varkon 9, and perhaps the whole galaxy, was about to be tested, and Zeal knew one thing for sure: he was not alone. With Jake by his side, the fire inside him was a sign of hope, a sign that humanity's strange power might shine in the darkest moments ahead. The warning alarms echoed through the halls of the Varkon 9 mining colony. Outside, dark shapes moved. In the sky, syndicate ships large and threatening blocking the stars. The colony's people hurried to their stations preparing for a possible attack. Zyle stood beside Jake, feeling the heat inside him rise with the tension. The burning was no longer just strange, it felt like power, ready to be used. But neither of them understood it fully. They needed answers. After the emergency drills ended, Jake and Zyle went to the colony's small library, a quiet place filled with data pads and old star maps. If there was any record about the strange energy Zyle carried, they hoped to find it here. Jake opened a dusty data pad and typed quickly. Let's search for any history of humans interacting with alien biology. Maybe that can tell us why your body is reacting this way. Zyle nodded, his glowing lines flickering softly. I have heard of ancient stories on my planet about energy linked to the stars. Maybe humans are part of a greater story. The screen filled with records from across the galaxy, ancient legends, scientific reports, and star charts. One entry caught Jake's eye. The Starborn Legacy, Human Energy and Galactic Myth. He read aloud. Long ago, many species believed humans had a unique connection to cosmic energy. Some said humans could awaken hidden powers in others, like a spark in the dark. Zyle's eyes widened. Could that be true? Could I be experiencing this spark? Jake smiled, but his voice was serious. If it's true, it means humans might carry something more important than we thought. As they dug deeper, another piece of information emerged. It spoke of an ancient alien race called the Arvok, known to have experimented with human DNA and energy long ago. They believed humans could unlock new powers in alien species. Zyle frowned. The Arvok? I have never heard of them. They disappeared thousands of years ago, Jake said. But their research might explain why your body is changing. The burning inside Zyle flared stronger than before. It was as if the energy inside him recognized the truth of these ancient stories. His body was not just reacting, it was transforming. Suddenly, the lights flickered and the colony's communication system crackled. An emergency broadcast from the Galactic Council filled the room. Syndicate forces are advancing on Varkon 9. All colonies must prepare for defense. A new energy source has been detected. Handle with caution. Jake and Zyle exchanged looks. The galaxy knew something was happening. The energy inside Zyle was not just a mystery, it was now a weapon others wanted to control. Determined to understand more, Jake suggested they visit the colony's historian, Elder Rena. She was one of the few who studied ancient galactic legends. Elder Rena lived in a small room filled with artifacts and old books. She welcomed them with a gentle smile. You seek knowledge about human energy? She asked, her eyes twinkling. Zyle nodded. Yes, my body is changing, and I do not know why. Rena touched a dusty book, opening it carefully. Long ago, humans were called the Starborn. Their energy was said to be a gift from the cosmos, able to awaken dormant powers in others. The Arvok studied this closely, hoping to use it for peace, but also for control. Jake asked, could humans unlock new abilities in other species? Rena nodded slowly. Yes, but it is rare and unpredictable. It requires trust and connection between beings. Not just proximity, but a bond of understanding. Zyle looked at Jake, then back at Rena. Then my connection to Jake may be why I am burning inside. Exactly, Rena said. Your bond awakens the energy. It is a sign of unity and of great power. Outside, the syndicate ships loomed nearer. The colony's defenses were fragile, but now Zyle understood his burning was not a curse. It was a key, a new kind of strength born from the connection between species. We must learn to control this, Jake said, determination in his voice. If the syndicate wants to use it for harm, we will use it to protect. Zyle nodded, feeling the heat inside him shift from fear to purpose. The burning mystery was becoming a promise. A future where humans and aliens could stand together, stronger than any enemy. As night fell over Varkan 9, the stars shone brighter than ever. In the darkness, two unlikely allies prepared to face the coming storm, their bond lighting a path toward hope and change. The days on Varkan 9 grew darker with the syndicate ships closing in. The colony's small defenses were being readied, but Jake and Zeal knew that physical weapons might not be enough. The burning inside Zeal was stronger than ever, and it was clear they needed to understand it quickly, before the syndicate arrived. 1. Evening, Jake proposed an idea. There is a technology here in the colony, biosynchronization. It can link two beings' energy patterns. Maybe if we try it, we can find out more about what's happening inside you. Zial looked unsure. It sounds risky, Jake smiled. Life here is already risky. But if this energy connects us, it could help you control it, and maybe even stop the burning. Zial agreed. The biosynchronization chamber was a sleek, glowing pod, filled with soft lights and humming machines. Jake and Zial sat inside together, their hands touching lightly as the chamber began its work. A gentle wave of energy passed between them, warm and pulsing. Zial felt the burning inside him rise quickly, but instead of pain it brought clarity. Images and feelings flashed through his mind, memories of Jake's laughter, the warmth of his friendship, and the strong hope that bound them. Jake felt it too, a connection deeper than friendship, something old and new at the same time. The chamber's machines hummed louder as their energies merged. Suddenly Zeal gasped. The heat inside him was no longer uncomfortable. It flowed smoothly, like a river of light through his veins. The glowing lines on his skin brightened but no longer flickered wildly. Instead, they pulsed with calm power. The machines shut down, and the pod's door opened. Both stepped out, breathing deeply but feeling stronger. It worked, Jake said, grinning. You're in control now. Zial smiled, the first real smile since the burning began. I feel different, like a new part of me is awake. Dr. Mira entered the room, eyes wide with surprise. Your vitals have stabilized. The synchronization must have balanced the energy inside you. Jake and Zial spent the next days testing the limits of this new connection. Zial discovered he could direct the energy in his body to strengthen his muscles, heal small wounds quickly, and even emit a faint light from his hands. But more than that, he felt a bond with Jake that went beyond the physical, a shared strength that made them both better. One afternoon as they trained near the colony's edge, Ziel stopped suddenly. His glowing lines brightened intensely, and he felt a rush of power. Ziel? Jake asked, watching closely. Ziel extended his hand and a warm, glowing pulse shot out, lighting up the rocky ground. I can control it, more than I thought. Jake laughed, amazed. You're like a living star. But their moment of joy was short. The colony's alarms sounded again. Syndicate forces were launching their first attack. The colony's defenses fired energy blasts into the dark sky, but the enemy ships were many. Buildings shook and people ran for cover. Jake grabbed Zeal's arm. We have to help. Zeal nodded, feeling the burning energy surge inside him. It was no longer a threat. It was a weapon, a shield, and a light in the darkness. Together, they ran toward the main power core where the syndicate aimed to strike. Zial's glowing hand sent waves of energy that deflected incoming blasts. Jake used his technical skills to reroute power and keep the colony's shields active. As they fought side by side, it became clear the syndicate had not expected this. The humans and aliens working together, powered by the strange energy connection, were stronger than any one species alone. During a brief pause in the battle, Zial looked at Jake. This power, it is a gift from our bond, not just from your human energy but from our trust. Jake nodded. That's what makes us strong. The battle continued through the night. Zeal's control of the burning energy improved, and Jake's quick thinking kept their defenses alive. Together they held the syndicate at bay, buying time for reinforcements from nearby colonies. When the first light of dawn broke over Varkon 9, the enemy ships retreated, damaged and defeated. The colony was battered, but its spirit was unbroken. Exhausted but proud, Jake and Ziel stood on a hill overlooking the settlement. The stars above seemed to shine clearer now, as if the universe itself had noticed their victory. Ziel looked at Jake, gratitude shining in his glowing eyes. "Thank you for standing by me." Jake grinned. "We're in this together, humanity and alien, stronger united." The burning inside Ziel had changed from a mystery to a promise. It was a symbol of connection, power, and hope. And as the galaxy stirred with new challenges, Jake and Ziel knew one thing. Together, they could face anything. The victory at Varkon 9 was only the beginning. News of Ziel's transformation and his bond with Jake spread quickly across the galaxy. The Syndicate, though temporarily defeated, was far from finished. Their hunger for power and control was as strong as ever. High above the colony, in the dark command room of the Syndicate, Flagship Commander Varkas stared at the holomap. Red dots showed the Syndicate fleet scattered across the star systems. One dot, glowing brighter than the rest, marked Varkon 9, the source of the strange new energy. "We cannot allow this power to grow," Varkas said, his voice cold and hard. "Capture the human and the alien. Use them to unlock the secret of this energy. If we control it, no one will stop us." Below, on Varkon 9, Jake and Ziel prepared for what they knew was coming. The colony was rebuilding after the attack, but the threat was far from over. Ziel's burning energy had become stronger, and with Jake's help, he was learning to control it better. But the two knew the Syndicate would return with more force. One evening, as the colony's leaders met in the command center, Jake stood beside Ziel, sharing what he had learned. "The Syndicate doesn't just want the colony's minerals," he said. "They want us to use this energy as a weapon." Ziel's glowing lines pulsed with determination. "We cannot let them win. The colony's defense teams trained harder, and Jake worked on improving their technology to harness and protect the energy Ziel carried. They created energy barriers powered partly by Ziel's abilities, and new sensors to detect enemy ships early. But even with preparations, the Syndicate's return was sudden and fierce. One night, under the cover of darkness, Syndicate raiders launched a surprise attack. Explosions rocked the colony as ships dropped from the sky. The defenders scrambled to repel the invaders. Jake grabbed Ziel's arm. "We have to hold them off. Use your power, but be careful." Ziel nodded, feeling the heat inside him rise. He stepped forward, extending his hands. Waves of glowing energy burst from his palms, forming shields that stopped incoming blasts. The ground around him lit up, glowing with his alien power. The Syndicate soldiers were shocked by this force. Their weapons, designed for machines and soldiers, had little effect against the living energy Ziel created. Jake coordinated the defense, sending orders and repairing damaged systems. He used every skill he had to keep the colony safe. As the battle raged, Ziel's power grew stronger, but so did the strain on his body. The burning inside him flared, painful and fierce. He knew he could not hold out forever. Suddenly, a Syndicate ship broke through the outer defenses, heading straight for the power core, the heart of the colony's energy. Jake shouted, "Ziel, we have to stop it." Without hesitation, Ziel raced toward the incoming ship. His glowing lines blazed bright as he prepared to use his energy in a new way. As the ship fired its weapons, Ziel reached out and unleashed a powerful pulse. The energy hit the ship, disabling its engines and sending it crashing to the ground. The colony cheered, but the fight was not over. More ships were coming. Jake and Ziel retreated to the command center to plan their next move. "We can't keep this up alone," Jake said. "We need help from other colonies and the Galactic Council." Ziel agreed, "But time is short. The Syndicate will not stop." Together they sent a distress signal, broadcasting a message of warning and hope across the galaxy. It told of their strange energy bond and the strength it brought. Within hours, ships from nearby colonies began to respond. Allies gathered, ready to stand against the Syndicate's growing threat. The battle for Varkon 9 was turning into a fight for the future of the galaxy itself. And at the center of it all were Jake and Zeal, the human and the alien, united by a burning energy that no enemy could destroy. The battle for Varkon 9 was far from over. The Syndicate's forces grew larger and more dangerous with each passing day, but so did the strength of the colony's defenders. More ships and soldiers arrived from allied systems inspired by the message Jake and Zeal had sent. Among the defenders, Zeal became a symbol of hope. His glowing body moved like a living star across the battlefield, sending waves of energy that shielded his friends and struck fear into their enemies. Jake was always close by, coordinating defenses and helping Zeal control the burning power inside him. Together, they pushed past their limits. One day, deep in the command center, Jake studied data streaming from the front lines. "Zeal, your energy levels are higher than before, but I'm worried. You look exhausted." Zeal shook his head, glowing lines pulsing rapidly. "I can keep going. This power is part of me now. I feel it growing." Jake frowned. "We need to be careful. Too much. And it could overwhelm you." But Zeal was determined. "If I don't use it, the Syndicate will win." That night, a new threat appeared. A massive Syndicate flagship entered the system, casting a shadow over Varkon 9. Its weapons were powerful, able to destroy entire buildings with a single blast. Jake and Zeal stood on a hill, watching the dark ship approach. The burning inside Zeal flared fiercely. "We have to stop it," Jake said. "But this will be the hardest fight yet." Zeal nodded. "Then we fight as one." The next day, the battle began. Syndicate ships swarmed the colony, firing weapons that tore through defenses. Zeal stepped forward, arms glowing bright as he released a wave of energy that pushed back the attackers. Jake directed the allied ships, weaving through enemy fire and coordinating strikes. The defenders worked as one, each move planned and precise, but the flagship was powerful. Its main cannon charged, ready to fire. "Zeal, can you stop it?" Jake shouted. Zeal took a deep breath, feeling the burning surge inside. This time, it was different. It was stronger and clearer. He raised his hands toward the sky, gathering all his energy into a bright orb of light. The air around him shimmered as he focused every ounce of power. The glowing lines on his skin pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. Then, with a loud crackle, Zeal released the energy. The orb shot through space, striking the flagship's cannon just as it fired. The blast and counterblast collided, creating a brilliant explosion that lit the sky like a second sun. The flagship shook, its weapons disabled. Cheers rose from the defenders, but the fight was not over. The Syndicate forces retreated, but only to regroup. Later, Jake helped Zeal back to the command center. "You did it," Jake said, relief in his voice. Zeal smiled weakly. "I could not have done it without you." As the days passed, Zeal's control over his energy grew. He could heal faster, move quicker, and protect others with powerful shields. The burning inside him was no longer a curse, but a force for good. The colony began to recover, stronger and united. More species joined the fight, inspired by the story of the human and the alien who fought side by side. Jake and Zeal trained the new recruits, sharing their knowledge and hope. Together, they prepared for the battles yet to come. One quiet night, under the stars, Zeal and Jake stood side by side. "Do you think we can really change the galaxy?" Zeal asked softly. Jake smiled, looking up at the stars. "We already are." The burning mystery had become a shining light, a symbol of unity, strength, and the endless power of trust between beings. No matter what the future held, Jake and Zeal knew they would face it together, rising beyond limits and lighting the way for all. The battle for Varkon 9 had changed everything. The Syndicate's power was broken, their forces scattered, and the colonies across the galaxy were no longer afraid to stand together. Jake and Zeal's story had become a beacon of hope, proof that even the greatest challenges could be overcome when beings united. In the days after the last fight, the colony buzzed with rebuilding and celebration. Ships arrived from all over, carrying supplies, new settlers, and friends. The scars of war were healing, but the spirit of the people was stronger than ever. Jake stood at the edge of the colony looking out at the star-filled sky. Sile joined him, his glowing lines now soft and steady, no longer flickering wildly. The burning inside him had settled into a steady warmth, a quiet strength. "We did it," Jake said softly. "We stopped the syndicate." Sile nodded. "But it is more than that. We showed the galaxy that trust and friendship can be stronger than fear and war." Suddenly, a message came through the colony's communication system. It was from the Galactic Council, the leaders who govern the stars. The council invites Jake and Zeal to speak before the assembly. The message announced, "Your story inspires all. It is time to build a future together." Jake and Zeal exchanged excited glances. This was their chance to share what they had learned, not just about the strange energy burning inside Zeal, but about what it meant to be united across species. The day of the assembly arrived in the Grand Hall of the Galactic Council. Representatives from hundreds of planets gathered, their faces curious and hopeful. Jake stepped forward first. "We are not so different," he said simply. "Humans and aliens both want peace, safety, and a future. The energy inside Zeal is special, yes, but the real power comes from the connection we share. When we trust each other, we can face anything." Zeal followed, his voice calm but strong. "This energy was a mystery that frightened me at first. But with Jake's help, I learned it is a gift, a symbol of what we can do when we work together. The burning inside me is a part of me, but it is also a part of all who choose to stand united." The crowd applauded, some rising to their feet. The message was clear. The future of the galaxy was not about power or control, but about cooperation and understanding. After the assembly, Jake and Zeal traveled to many worlds, sharing their story and helping others discover the strength of unity. They worked with scientists to study the energy, hoping to use it for healing, defense, and growth. On the peaceful planet of Loria, Jake and Zeal watched the sunset together. The sky was painted with colors they had never seen before. Soft and warm, Zeal smiled. "Do you think the burning inside me will ever stop?" Jake laughed gently. "Maybe it will always be there, a reminder of how far you've come and the power inside you. But now it is not a fire to fear. It is a light to guide." Zeal looked at Jake, grateful beyond words. "Thank you for saving me, for trusting me, and for standing beside me." Jake shrugged. "We saved each other. That's what friends do." As the stars began to shine in the night sky, Jake and Zeal knew their journey was far from over. But they faced the future with hope, knowing that together they could rise above any challenge. The galaxy was waking to a new dawn, one where differences were celebrated, and the burning light of connection shone brighter than any star. And so the tale of the human and the alien who burned with shared power became legend, a story told across worlds, reminding everyone that when hearts and minds unite, anything is possible.